Python has something called a for loop so that you can iterate through collections such as lists. Let's loop through a list right now using a for loop. Let's start out with a simple list. I'll make one called my list, and that equals square bracket, how about b ant fly, and I'm running out of things I can spell. A turtle. There we go. We got a nice little list there to work with. Let's do a for loop and go through the list. So I'm going to say for item in my list colon. We will print out the item, and I'll label it too. So I'll say print item equals item. Let's run this, see what we have, and then we'll talk about it. All right, cool. We went through all the items in the list and printed them out. So this my list right here is the list we're iterating through, which means we're just going through it, right? We have our 4 things got printed out down here. We got 4 things up here. This right here is our loop variable. You can pick that name, but it should make sense, right? Like you could call it like A, but that might not be as informative to other programmers who's trying to maintain your code. If I print it, it works fine. Let me do a Control Z, get back to item. You may be thinking, can I print more than one line of code? You can. You can print an entire code block. And I'm going to add another line of code to make a 2-line code block. There we go. I'm going to print this. And we can see that this for loop executed both of these lines of code, right? B underscore line, B or dash line, I should say. There we go. What happens if I go like that and I run it? Oh, look at that. So it printed out all my items. And then when it was done my for loop, it printed out this one. So the indent indicates where the for loop starts and stops, right? So that's part of the for loop. That is not part of the for loop. And you can get messed up in Python if you're coming from another language, because if you have some strange indent, you're going to get an error. I'm going to run this. Oh, no bueno. Indentation error. Indents are important. Indents tell Python where code starts and where code stops in a code block. Sweet. Let's make a for loop that reverses the order of all of the things in our list. So that'll give us some more list practice too. I'll say our list equals, and open and close square brackets for an empty list. I'll say for item in my list. Well, we could append item to our list, but that's going to give us the exact same list, right? We want to reverse the order. Let's stick item in the front of our list every time we loop through the list. How do we do that? Let's go our list dot insert. And then the first thing we're going to do is the index where we want to insert, which is 0, beginning of the list, and then the item. All right, let's go ahead and print this out. In order to save space, I'm not going to use as many white lines. So we'll do, how about name it our list equals our list. There we go. Print. Boom. All right, look at that. And we have a reverse order list. That's pretty cool. Now you can loop over other things. It doesn't have to be a list. Let's loop through a string. Let's get a string. I'll call it st1 and something like, how about the cow jumped over the moon. There we go. And we're going to loop through it. So I'll say for, well, the variable, let's call it ch for char, in st1, and then we'll print out, let's just print it as we go, right? Ch equals ch. There we go. So we printed everything out, right? It doesn't have to just be a list. It could be something else. And you can use this to like maybe find a palindrome. But you have reverse methods too. In Python, you have a lot of tools. And now that we're doing loops, you might be curious about sorting. So I'm just going to show you two quick ways to sort. We'll get our R list, sort, and this is going to be a lexicographical sorting algorithm, basically alphabetical order, according to ASCII rules though. So capitals come before lowercase. That's the only thing you have to be careful of. Let's just do R list equals, and I will go into more detail of that, R list. So we're going to sort our R list. Cool. Ant, bee, fly, turtle. You can reverse the order. Let me just do it in place here. Let's do reverse equals true. And we swap the order. There's also, so this is sort. It sorts the list in place so you don't have to get a new list. You have something called sorted. So if we do like new list, and I'll do equals sorted R list, and we'll just put it in regular order. That also has the reverse too. And we'll print that out. Let's print it out. New list equals new list. And let's make that a comma. Print it. Sweet, new list. There you go. So you have a little bit of sorting there. Once you get into loops, a lot of times in school they teach you sorting. This might be a good way to check your results, right? The way everybody in industry does it, but they don't teach you that in school right away, or at least they used to not do that. I will see you in the next video.